The day the Earth caught fire. That's right, folks. It's been a minute since we've delved into one of my favorite topics of science fiction films, and that is nuclear testing ruined everything. We've done a lot of them. A lot of the ones we've talked about involve big radioactive monsters, but we've talked about them. Well, this one answers a different question. What if nuclear testing made us burn up and we all died? This is a movie that almost feels tailor-made to my interests. It's about a certain era of just world leaders destroying the planet, but through the perspective of a newsroom. You know, like, I love classic newspaper reporting. Just these guys in their suits. They're running around all over the place. They're on a phone call with everybody. It just looks so appealing. It's probably the reason I went into journalism for a bit. And then I saw what I actually had to do, and I went, oh, this sucks. I don't want to be a part of this. This movie, man, it's just, like, come on. This is pretty realistic. What if we did something bad and the world went in a different direction and we all died because of it? What would we do? It's so interesting. If you haven't seen this film before, I do recommend checking it out because it's just touching on a lot of stuff. And I think there is something interesting to explore about this movie today when we have these AI farms that are being built up and destroying the rainforest and our water supply. And what happens when we get to a real serious drought? You know? So I'm kind of going to bury the lead with this one a little bit because I think it's important for how we're discussing this. We haven't done an end of the world film yet. We've done movies where, like, the world is destroyed, but not where it's like in real time we're watching people react to a falling society. It's always fascinating to me because it puts you in that headspace of where would you go. And it has one of my favorite conversations about the end of the world is, what do you keep doing? Do you keep reporting the news? What is the news now? Do you talk about the shortage of water? Do you talk about the failing society that's around you? What does the government know? How long have they known? It handles this all in like 99 minutes and just quietly escalates the tension. So we're introduced to our main character. His name is Peter Stenning. And Peter Stenning is just, he just takes pictures now. He used to be like a big time reporter, but he's kind of like low down. He hears some rumblings that there might be some information from like a government organization. He wants to go check it out and investigate that, but they don't want to give him any access. So he quietly snoops around, meets this girl who's supposed to be on like the switchboards. Man, I don't know what they're called, but it's just a lady on a switchboard putting your line through a different thing. And they start to like spark up a conversation. There is some information that's being passed around in this office of this government official that says something may or may not be happening. And that's all we know at this point. We don't have any real information. We have the start of the movie where it's in like the sepia color where the world's on fire. And there's just like a guy who's like, I gotta tell the world the story, you know? But all we know is 90 days before that guy's in the sepia tone saying that shit, he's doing this and he's investigating this thing. And they don't really know what it is. There's not much to really go off of. It's just like things are kind of different. And then as the days progress and things pick up, things just slightly get hotter. It seems like there is something being said that doesn't want to be leaked, and you just have to kind of deal with that, you know? There's this weird fog that's rolling in. Like, different places around the world are experiencing different weather conditions. Like, there's rain in Egypt. There's just weird stuff happening all over the place. Lucky for Peter, one of the guys he works with, his name is Bill. Bill is kind of like a science nerd, so he's like, I don't know, man. If I don't know it, no one's going to know it. Like, the world's weird that way. I love these guys. I love the feel of an old school newsroom. It's one of my favorite types of tropes and my favorite things to see on film. These guys just sit at a desk and complain and then go to a bar down the street and complain there about the stuff they're not writing. We also know that Peter has a 7-year-old son, but he's divorced from his wife and she's looking to remarry. So has some connections that he's building with his son that he's trying to do. Like, he wants to hang out with his son. The world doesn't really want him to go that way. He also met the switchboard operator named Jeannie. And Jeannie is like this tough nails broad who is just fun, flirty, but is like, I don't really want to do whatever we're doing here. Their relationship becomes very much the screwball comedy. Look at us, we're two amazing people communicating around each other, saying this different stuff. So flirty and fun, like the sequence where he stumbles upon her at the beach and then the fog rolls in and they can't see anything. I love this sequence where this big fog rolls in over London. No one can see anything going on. And he just like reluctantly has to stay with her because there's nowhere for him to go. And he has to sleep in the tub and she's going to sleep in her bed. This is the thing about England, okay? In an American movie, in this era, our lead characters are not going to be as nude as they are here. We don't see any nudity, but Jeannie is topless in her bed. And we see a lot of her back and a little bit of side boob. Peter is in his underwear for a full sequence, just standing there in his underwear. It's not like, ooh, we have to hide it. It's like, nope. These are two people who were clearly horny for each other, being very flirty and passing it off as like, we can't get involved in this thing. It's not good for you. You're a disgraced reporter. I'm just some switchboard girl who gets her wires crossed. But it happens one night. So they eventually have to kiss and tell, and they decide, let's just go for it. Then the next day, Jeannie hears something about her like supervisors. And she's like, I gotta tell you something. And you cannot tell anybody. You cannot tell anybody about what I'm going to tell you. And he says, okay, I won't. But I'm a reporter. I'm a sleazeball. I'm going to tell people anyways. What she reveals is that the room that she's working for, these government officials, confirmed it with like the rest of the world. The Earth is no longer on its proper axis, and it shifted 11 degrees. Because you work with scientist Bill, he can confirm that that is drastically bad and nothing good's going to come from it. Things are going to get worse and worse and worse. It's going to get hotter and hotter and hotter. We're seeing the hottest world you've ever experienced in a lifetime. And as that story continues to progress, we also learn that not only did we go off our axis, so things aren't like the properly equator, we're barreling towards the sun. The nuclear testing that we've done, the bombs we set off, the wars that we caused, these problems that we made happen, they put us off our axis, put us out of orbit, and now we're going towards the sun, and we're going to explode in the sun. It's really interesting. What a cool concept. And what I really like about this film is just how the world quickly just turns against itself. Everything just seems normal, but the moment something is off, it's people just being like, oh, this doesn't seem right, and quickly becomes, well, hell's breaking loose. Let's just burn everything. Teenagers are the first to just like riot. And I'm like, that is fair. I honestly think today, if there was anybody saying, yeah, so we're headed towards the sun, we got maybe 4 months to live, no one would take that good. Some people might not believe that, but if the world kept getting hotter and hotter, and it is sometimes, nothing good can come from it. It's terrifying to think about, isn't it? And this movie's just so well handled. Yes, it's like sound stages and stuff like that, but we're filming on real locations, and everybody's just looking sweaty. These people are just sweaty and disgusting. They're wearing light clothing. They're all just getting beat down by the sun, which of course you are. It's closer to you than ever before. You're not in a good place. But these reporters for the Express, they still decide we have to tell these stories. What is happening? What isn't the government telling us? There are now these embootment camps set up at parks. We should figure out what these are and what they're about. Are they storing water? Are they giving people water? Now, I live in a pretty well-off area of the world where I'm easily accessible to water. I do have a fear that if there is a drought, I won't understand how to handle that. Not that I need, well, you do need water, but you know what I mean, where it's like you've just got so used to this thing always being there. What happens when you can't clean your teeth every day, shower every day, have these things happen? It gets to be a concern. And it is a viable concern that we could see potentially in my lifetime, which is crazy to think about. And just the idea, like a movie in the 60s talking about global warming, it is interesting to consider. Yes, it's from the perspective of the nuclear tests and the bombs and everything, which that's still an environmental concern. there's that thing where maybe setting off this bomb does destroy the Earth, and this is the ramifications of that. As all this is going on, there is the subplot of Jeannie and Peter, because she gets upset that he leaked everything to the press that she told him. So she doesn't want to work with him, but she loses her job, and she gets a job at the newspaper, and they just have to like play off each other. But they realize they're in love because they're really hot and they have good chemistry, and if the world's going to end, you might as well be with somebody you find suitable. You know, that's the thing about this movie, is that it doesn't leave you with a really satisfying feeling that things are going to get better. It reveals what the governments are doing to help you. It depicts riots in the streets, that sequence is insane, where these kids just like tear apart these fire hydrants and sprinklers and plumbing systems and just start partying in the water as if none of this matters. It might be, and this is such a crazy thing to say, because I'm not super old, but it's the first time that I've really sat down in a movie and been like, I fucking hate these teenagers. Stop wasting the water. It's not funny. You're not helping anybody. You are ruining a lot of people. I was so mad. It's one of the old maniest takes I've had in a film lately. But I was just so annoyed where I'm like, you gotta lock these kids up. They are vandalizing this neighborhood, sure, but they're destroying supplies of water that people need. They are acting against the will of the people. And you can talk about how much government interference should happen in these kind of things. It's just terrifying and very scary to see that that's how it's going to go. So everyone's burning up. The world's coming to an end. What do we do? The plan that is devised by the governments of the world is we are all going to launch our nuclear rockets at the same time and push us back on course. Is that going to work? Well, the movie doesn't let you know if it works or not. The end of this movie comes to the countdown of, we're about to launch the nukes. See if we survive. And I'm like, that is really bleak. That's not an American ending. America's like, we saved the day because our president's the best. This movie's like, look, we have to go on. I'm a newspaper guy. I'm just going to report to the people. I'm going to have somebody dictate what I am saying to them on a telephone when we still have electricity. Just say, I don't know if this is going to work or if things are going to be good, but humanity got us to this point, so we're here. It's not like, we ruined our lives. It's just, we have to deal with the stuff that we've done. And I'm like, yes, thank you. But we shouldn't be here in the first place, Oh, it is so bleak. And it just hits all these beats I love. A really silly romance, really smart dialogue, a newspaper company that is just ahead of the curve on everything. And how do we deal with the fact that the end of the world is happening around us? It is so well depicted. Because it is English, it's a little more like well-mannered, where if we had like the Roland Emmerich film 2012 where the world's falling apart, everyone's a monster, there's some niceness to this little thing. And I appreciate that. Genuinely appreciate that. And I think this movie has a lot of good stuff to offer. Very timely. I do think it is very timely. I know we're not headed towards the sun or our access isn't off, but just the idea that in our lifetime, there are secrets that the government is hiding from us, and maybe we're going to lose access to essential resources because of humans' behavior towards the future. It is very interesting to consider that. It is worrisome. Like, you're not going to walk away feeling happy, but you're like, damn, this is a real-time event of a news organization dealing with this stuff and people reporting on it and surviving it. Very fascinating. Very well documented. The Day the Earth Caught Fire. This is a pretty damn cool movie, and I would encourage all of you to give it a watch. Very interesting. So that is going to do it for this episode of Galactic Tales. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.